We've all heard of Area 51, but have you ever heard of Area 52? And I have a story time for you. TikTok, this is for entertainment and educational purposes only, and nothing I say in this video is true or a fact. It is a book. Not really. We all know the stories that were coming out about the aliens from Area 51 and possibly Area 52, but that's just the cover story. They want you to think that there were aliens there for a reason. So this guy goes on to say that he grew up in Dugway, a little town that nobody's ever heard of, near Dugway Proving Ground, which is also known as Area 52. Like, he was not far from there at all, and his uncle used to be a private contractor that worked with Area 52, but he had a little sip problem, and sometimes things would slip. He said it was in the late 90s, and it was his graduation night, and his uncle cornered him in his parents' kitchen, and he had been drinking, and he was like, now that you're old enough, he was like, well, what do you think I really do for a living? And he was like, I don't know, work with aliens or something? And he tells him, no, I handle all of the equipment for Area 52. We get all the projects from Area 51 that were too dangerous for them to deal with. And he's like, Unc, stop playing. And he grabbed his arm tight. And he was like, I'm not playing with you. We get the scarier projects that Area 51 is too afraid to deal with. He explains to him that he builds these big black containers that are so thick, and that they are made, the glass that's on the front of these containers is so thick and made of alien technology from Area 51 that had to be re-engineered at Area 52. And, you know, he's an 18-year-old kid, and he said, okay, so basically you build containers that hold aliens. He grabs his arm again, and he says, they've always been here. They did not come from another planet. They did not crash land here. And these are not aliens. They want you to think that they are. And his uncle goes on to say the scariest part is we haven't figured out a way to unalive them. And he's like, wait, so the stories coming out of Area 51 about how one was damaged, he said none of that is true. He goes on to tell him, and at this point they're intrigued, so he sits down and his uncle's having his drink or whatever, and it's just them two talking. And this, by the way, is his favorite uncle. And he says that he told him that they have special suits designed that are airlocked, that if so much as one hole gets into it, you're fucked. He said that these special containers had to be built because of the fact that they can jump into another vessel. Basically demons. This is why the church called them demons. This is the closest thing that I can get to a picture of what he was trying to describe that was inside of these black box containers with this thick alien reinforcement glass. His uncle said he had only ever actually seen one, and they referred to him as or her, they don't know, because they don't have reproductive organs, because they jump from host to host. But its name was Entity 7, and that there was an Entity 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they had been trying to find out a way to destroy them, but every single time that entity, the avatar itself, kind of like we have an avatar and a soul, so do they. And that what happens is the box contains what's left after the avatar is gone. And then they have to find, and they made a mistake, they've been testing it for years, putting people in there. And he said that what happens is when the alien avatar or demon avatar, whatever they're inside of, is unalived, that even if you have so much as one slit in your suit, it gets into you. And then they have to put you in the black box, and then you start to change. But he said they did have one that escaped, and it happened to be Entity 7, and that is the reason that they had to evacuate that facility one night. and that it was 6,000 either feet or miles underground. I can't remember what he said, but he said that they had to evacuate the entire facility. That is insane. So whenever you think of Area 51 and you haven't heard of Area 52, just know it's his older, meaner cousin.